tell me, Diana, what did you want to, with this album, can you summarise just what you wanted to get across? It's a big, stupid, vague question, but you can pick out of it what you like.
I want the people of New Zealand to love it. I don't know. I mean, what I wanted to get across was just what I always want to get across is, I guess, is honest music, and this is a snapshot of where I am. I went to Brazil and was inspired by the music there, well, my whole life, but I felt this was the right time to do an album like that.
When did you start listening to Bossa Nova?
I don't know. When did you start listening to Bossa Nova?
Years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember when, but it was really early on. Probably with Sergio Mendes, probably with my dad's record collection. But I think we always heard it, especially I was born in the 60s, so there was a great time for Bossa Nova with Stan Getz and João Gilberto and Jobim, and it's just part of a jazz musician's education to know Bossa Nova, but I got really into it when I went to Brazil, I would say. Yeah.
I'm curious as to what...
long answer.
Yeah, no, long answers are good.
Questions when I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I never thought
we can just feel our way into it. You don't have to... It's not about sound bites, Diana. It's about exploration. Because it would have been... I was just thinking, as someone who had listened to that music as a young person, and then to go to Brazil and to work on an album like this, it must have been thrilling in some way.
Well, I started, listening to Frank Sinatra with Jobim, arrangements by Klaus Hilgerman, who worked with Jobim and João Gilberto. So I wanted to work again with Klaus because I'd worked with him on Look of Love, and it just made sense to do Bossa Nova because that's his. He was part of the creators of that music. He was one of the creators of Bossa Nova, and contributed the arrangements to a lot of the work that Jobim and João Gilberto did. So it made sense for me, in collaborating with Klaus Hilgerman, who's never been to Brazil. Frankly, it's just tried to get him, and hopefully he can go. But he worked with such great artists.
Do you think there's different music for young people, for kids, and different music for adults? Are there any sort of differences?
Definitely.
What would they be?
Crazy Frog is a hit in our house. Wheels on the Bus. I think children should learn those Itsy Bitsy Spider before tragic kind of love songs. Before they learn show tunes. I think it's kind of important. But I think that for me as a kid, I was really attracted to artists like Fats Waller and Nat King Cole, especially Nat King Cole, because he did songs like Brim Fram Sauce and sort of novelty songs that were still really good artistically, but they were fun and I related to them as a kid. So I don't think that kids should be just having simple music, because my kids like Harry Belafonte. They want to hear "Pump It Up" over and over again, but they also like the classic children's songs like "Wheels on the Bus" and things like that. So, but they also like "You've Got a Friend in Me," so they love Randy Newman. So I guess it just depends.
Are you in some way do you try and supervise their musical education?
No, I'm not no. I was dancing to, that Crazy Frog, bing, 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 bing. It's just.
Oh yeah, I think.
Yeah, they love that, and so we all dance to it. It's fine. I'm not weird like that, because there's so much music around the house, and the way I learned was just because I listened to what my father was listening to, and that was everybody from Bing Crosby to Claude Thornhill, Ned Hanshaw, Fats Waller. I just absorbed it, but I also listened to Elton John and Elvis Costello and other artists. So I hope my kids will be. I don't think they can help but be exposed to everything.
What about? What defines? Because you talked about, or it's been observed about this album, that it's a mature album. What defines adult music? How is adult music adult?
Shagging music.
Did you just say shagging? Shagging
music, yeah.
Right. That leads me to
I mean, I'm just being silly, but actually I'm not being silly.
No, you're not.
I do think
you're not, Diana. You're being very, very serious.
I just was worth it for the look on your face. But you said, how would you define adult? You'll have to pardon me. I'm so
That's all right.
Just. I'm very excited about my record, but I think I don't know if I would say it was romantic, but I drew a lot from Julie London, who I think has always been my idea of just womanly, sexy, and a great, singer. If anybody's going to call anybody smoky or sultry, Julie London certainly is one of my favorite singers for that reason. She's just really sexy, I think, in a very womanly way, not sort of Quakerly, flirty stuff. It's like womanly, I think.
How would you define womanly, sexy?
I guess so. That's a woman who's about 44 years old, who's had twins, and still feels great about herself.
Still retains an active interest.
Not even that. It's just a confidence, I would say. I think a feeling of contentment, and I'm happily married to Elvis Costello. I have two beautiful children who are both 2 years old. I have a career. I'm producing. I'm doing so many things, but I'm also, the most important thing is that I'm a wife and mother, and I'm figuring out, my kids' lunches and cooking and doing all this stuff. I don't know if you can have it all, but I am certainly living the dream life that I've always imagined for myself. It took a long time. I had a very difficult time with the loss of my mother. It just was like in 2002, and for 5 years, I just felt like I was walking around with kind of a cloud over my head, and I didn't find any, I wanted to nurture, and I wasn't being nurtured, and then I met Elvis, which was the greatest thing that happened to me, and then we had children, and all of a sudden it was like all the things I missed about my mother, I found in myself with my children, and I think that is what has changed in my life for the positive, so emotionally and so beautifully, I just feel so much happier.
Is it sort of like a voyage out of grief in some way?
Well, I remember after my mother died, I went on tour. I performed in Christchurch and in Auckland about maybe 2 months after my mom died, and it was very difficult because I had to sort of grieve publicly. I think it's really important to talk about that. I really think it's like this record is definitive for me as how I feel now as a woman. How I'm not talking about the death of my mother. I'm not sort of looking for, I can still sing heartbreaking love songs. I'll always be able to return that because I have a vivid imagination. But I'm not sort of peeling grapes or, I don't feel like that right now. I feel settled. I've been living in Vancouver most of the time, and I'm feeling just like happy and being a mom and wife and artist is just everything I could have ever dreamed of being, sort of just having a great life.
What's it feel like to be so happy?
Yeah, it feels great. But I'm an artist, so I'm always a little miserable. I think I can find it. I feel like I can find the characters. I'm really into old movies and film noir. We were talking about. I love music and film from the 1940s. So I think that everything that Klaus Ogerman writes for me, it's not just this kind of nice music, standard. Hey, loosen my tie repertoire. Everything has some melancholy or film noir in it. If you listen to even Walk On By, like Burt Bacharach. To me, I hear it, and that's what matters to me. The audience might not hear it, but I do think there's just melancholy throughout, and that's what I always want, because that's part of who you are, too. That's
sort of a strand running through it.
Yeah, and it's always, like, challenge, It's always, if you have artist temperament, which I surely do. But it has been such a tremendous couple of years since I had my boys, Dexter and Frank. Great for Elvis and I, too, because we do equal parenting. He's looking after them in Vancouver now while I'm here talking to you. It's very lucky for me because I know, we both, I don't feel like it's all on me. It's two of us. I understand he's very busy.
What's Elvis like as a